Alright students, the next form we have is the contrapositive. Alright, so this is kind of a weird word. I never heard this word before. But to write the contrapositive, first write the converse. So you're going to first swap the order, then you're going to negate both the conclusion and hypothesis. Hypothesis is spelled like hypothesis. Alright, so we got this massive review of everything we've talked about today. So like conditional statement, if hypothesis, then conclusion, if P, then Q. Then we have the converse, where you literally swap the order, if conclusion, then hypothesis, if Q, then P. Then we have the inverse, where everything stays in the same order. We just put nots. We negate both hypothesis and conclusion. So converse, swapping the order, putting the shoes on the wrong feet. Inverse, negate. Inverse, not. Contrapositive is the most letters. Most letters. So contrapositive has more letters than the other two words. So it's the most work. Alright, so basically you're just doing both inverse and converse. Alright, technically it doesn't matter which way you do it in. And then if not conclusion, then not hypothesis. So see how the order swapped and they're both negated. Alright, so it's literally both inverse and converse. Maybe they should just call this the converse inverse rather than the contrapositive. They didn't ask me though when they named it. Anywho, here's an example. Alright, we've seen this example several times. The conditional statement. If two angles are supplementary, then they add 180 degrees. That is clearly true. Now here's the contrapositive form. Alright, first let me get my highlighter out. Alright. So see how we're already swapping the order? But then there's the knots integrated in there. Alright, so if two angles do not add 180 degrees, then they are not supplementary. That is also true. If they don't add a 180, that means they add some other number. Well, supplementary angles are the only ones that add up to 180, so it's got to be something other than supplementary. So that's why it's true. So this is actually incredibly important, what we kind of reviewed through this whole time, is that it doesn't matter what I did with this supplementary definition, it was always true. I swapped the order, I negated it, I did the contrapositive, always true. A little foreshadowing, but this is a very strong definition, very strong and valid. Alright? However, let's continue to look at some other things. We've been talking about these things for a while. Vertical angles, congruent, true, yada yada yada. Now the contrapositive, if two angles are not congruent, then they are not vertical. So if they are not congruent, then they are not vertical angles. Alright, in this little review, we've seen this one be true and false before. So if two angles are not congruent, so they don't have that same measure, then they are not vertical. This is actually true as well. Alright, so they have different measures, they're at a different angle, whatever it may be, so they can't be vertical. Alright, and then if an angle measure is obtuse, then its measure is 108 degrees. We said that was false already. Now, if an angle measure is not 108 degrees, then it is not obtuse. and something I forgot to do above, but anyways, we take the obtuse, go in the back, take the 108, goes in the front, not. Alright, so we swapped the order, we negated it, we did a bunch of work. This is also false. If an angle measure is not 108, then it is not obtuse. Well, what if it's 109 degrees? That's a counterexample. 107, right? 171 degrees, or 132.14973267132222243 degrees, right? Could be any of those. All right. The next portion of this is dense. It's going to take a while, so I'm going to save it for the next video. Stay tuned.